We are the network for Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network live. It's Monday, April 24th. We are officially 3 days away from the NFL Draft. My goodness, I bet everybody's excited. I hope you all had a great weekend. Gabby, I hope you had a great weekend as well. Jeff, not so much. And JB, I know you had a great weekend, so I don't even have to ask you. So, and then Alex, there's Alex. I can't do anything for you here, so we got a great show planned today. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. We'll start, obviously, with Jameson Williams. We didn't get to it Friday, obviously, because the news broke after the show ended. But once we wrap up with Jameson Williams, I really want to hone in on the Lions. Them being the betting favorite to be not only the NFC North champions, but also arguably the favorite in the NFL of teams that were non-playoff teams that will make the playoffs this year. I want to get Jeff's thoughts on this. We'll go, obviously, through a weekend of sports. My goodness, the Oilers tying up the series last night, as well as the Warriors. There have been some really, really good playoff games if you guys haven't been keeping up. And, of course, at 9 o'clock, we got to have this conversation. Will the Jameson Williams dilemma, suspension, stop the Detroit Lions from drafting someone you deeply, deeply are in love with? Jalen Carter? Is that going to prevent them from making that pick? We'll get to that at 9 o'clock, 9:15, and at 9:30. Jeff and I will break down our top 5 defensive backs and our top 5 defensive linemen coming out of this draft. We'll both share our big board heading into Thursday, and we'll do that for quarterbacks tomorrow, and we'll keep going position by position leading into Thursday. It's going to be a fun show. But let's start with the bad news, which is Jameson Williams is suspended for 6 games by the NFL for placing bets inside of a team facility. Now, if you want me to go over the rules, well, we'll start with this. This is from the NFL. All NFL personnel are banned from gambling on any sport, doesn't matter the sport, which is defined by 3 subjects, including prize, chance, or consideration. Whether wagers are with sportsbooks or in private with other players, family, friends, etc., they violate the policy. So even if he had a friend do it, an in-law do it, it didn't matter. It breaks the rules. All NFL part and full-time employees, which we'll get to a little later, are banned from fixing games or trading inside information, including injury updates or player personnel decisions. During the NFL season, all NFL personnel must not enter a sports book. NFL personnel is not allowed to promote or endorse anything involving gambling. NFL personnel may not take any gifts from a betting entity, if the value of said gift exceeds $250. NFL personnel are not allowed to participate in daily fantasy football leagues. Personnel may participate in season-long fantasy football leagues with a prize, provided the winner doesn't receive more than $250. Any NFL employee which incurs a gambling debt of more than $10,000 must notify the NFL security department. Those are the rules from the NFL. Now, why I thought it was so important to read not only the whole list, but especially the personnel part, is back in March, the Lions fired 4 low-level staff for this exact thing. They fired 4 low-level staff for betting inside of Allen Park. Yeah, you can make the jokes. They could have walked across the street and placed their bet and then came back in. Sure. Rule's the rule. The integrity of the NFL is more important than Jameson Williams. The integrity of the NFL is more important than anybody's job working at Allen Park. The integrity of the NFL is more important. I can't be more clear. They have no product if you doubt it and I doubt it. Or if you believe for a single second that there is some influence or there is some insider information trading going on between players, staff, whatever it may be, it'll kill the product. That's why he gets 6 games. And he's stupid for doing it. And the Lions are stupid for not communicating it enough clearly to their staff and their players. So it's not just Jameson Williams, and it's not just the Lions. This happens to be the line in the middle where they're both at fault. And we'll get to the whole Vegas thing at 8:15. Right now, all I want to focus on, guys, is you're going to miss your first-round rookie for a third of the season coming up. More than a third of the season. You're missing him for 6 games. He's lost $7 million worth of guaranteed money, by the way. They have the option to take an additional $829,000 from his original signing bonus, which I'm sure they won't do, but they have that right. This is unacceptable. You just can't do it. I don't care how young you are. Grow up. And not grow up in the sense of, I need you to be a 30-year-old mature adult. Just don't do stupid shit that jeopardizes your teammates and the people that are paid like you are to perform on the field. Jeff?
Yeah, we kind of covered this too on Friday. I filled in for Spencer on heavyweights, and I feel a lot of the same way you do. I think the part I disagree with is most fans kind of overreacting about this.
How so?
As in, we got to draft a wide receiver now in the first round. This doesn't change that for me. I mean, he's not suspended for the whole season. He'll be back in 6 games. It's unfortunate. If anything, this should be a learning lesson. The fact that I have to say that, though, is unfortunate because Calvin Ridley should have been a learning lesson for everybody. It should have been a learning lesson for Quintez Cephas, C.J. Moore, Stanley Berryhill, everybody that got, indefinite suspensions. That should have been a learning lesson. Even Jameson, who didn't specifically bet on NFL games, you can't bet on NFL property.
To be clear, I'm pretty sure it was March Madness in the team facility.
Yes, but you're still on NFL property, which, again, I say, well, he didn't know that. The NFL, I doubt the NFL didn't fully explain thoroughly everything after the Calvin Ridley
multiple
stuff.
Memos.
So, again, I can't defend Jamo, but what I can say is this doesn't define the rest of his career, too. I think that's part of it. I've heard Jamo's on bus watch, which is absolutely ridiculous. No, I don't think so.
Here, I'll tell you why.
Tell me why, please. Enlighten me.
So you have an issue with them drafting a receiver, right? The people that think that way.
Yes.
Or the people that think he'll never be any good, right? Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Jameson Williams, I'm only going to use Brad Holmes' words here, and I'm paraphrasing, but he wasn't even expecting him to play in his rookie year. Okay? So 1 year of his 5-year contract, ideally if they pick up the 5th-year option, but let's just say 4. Mm-hmm. 1 year of the 4-year deal is already gone. And now he's going to miss over a third of the games in his 2nd year because of a stupid violation. Stupid, dumb, whatever you think of the rule, I don't care. Jameson Williams not going to be on the field for the first 6 games of the season. That pisses me off. That pisses a lot of people off. And Jameson Williams, whether you or I like it or not, and this is why I'll kind of agree with it, I think bust is way too harsh.
Yeah,
I think we all see the talent, but he tweaks an ankle, tight hamstring, pulls a groin, out for 3 to 4 weeks. He's now missed more than 1 3/4 of his first 2 seasons in the NFL. That's not ideal. And that's not to say, and this is where I agree with you, that's not to say that he won't be an all-pro, that he won't be a Pro Bowler, that he won't be an exceptional wide receiver. I still have a lot of hope for his talent. He's an unbelievable talent. Doesn't mean much to me if he's not on the field. That's where I agree with that crowd. I think the rest is a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, if you're questioning anything, I guess, with his ability, then I would call you an idiot. But if you want to question, well, if he's not available, that's a problem. I understand that. But even after 6 games, you can't really say he's injury prone because we knew kind of what we were signing up for when we drafted him. You knew he'd missed the first season. This season, it has nothing to do with injury. It's related to breaking a rule. So I don't know. That's how I feel. I know Ian Rappaport went on Pat McAfee, and he didn't know that you couldn't bet on non-NFL games, even on NFL property, but still.
Well, because he doesn't have to be in the team facility every day.
Yeah, he's not in the NFL.
But regardless,
he's not in the facilities.
But Ian Rappaport is.
That's
Ian
where
Rappaport.
I, just as somebody, and you
Not
guys
defending
know,
him,
you
but
work
still.
with me every day, just as because how we operate all day, every day here. Mm-hmm. This is on the Lions too. They have just as much to play in this as Jameson Williams.
Yeah, because even the staff members, multiple
4
players,
staff members, multiple players. I want to know why this wasn't nipped in a bud after the Calvin Ridley incident. I know it was a little different. He did bet on games. That's why he got the indefinite year suspension.
Right.
But what are we doing? Okay, we hear about this. Guys, hey, just so you know, we're going to call a team meeting and a staff meeting. Guys, Calvin Ridley just went down. 1, 2, and 3, here are the rules. Never bet in the facility. I don't care if it's on a non-NFL game. During the season, don't do this. Never bet on an NFL game with your family, friends. Never give information. You are jeopardizing your career and the team. And you repeat that 100 times throughout the year so it doesn't happen. And the one benefit of the doubt I'll give the Lions is in my lifetime, they've always been a shit team. But they've always been like pretty good with compliance, which is what I think this falls under. The Lions have always been one of the better teams in following rules and never being in the shady area like you'd see with the Patriots or some of these
Commanders
teams, or
now.
Atlanta or Washington, right? The Lions have always been really good about compliance. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt here, but what are we doing? I know gambling is new, but like I said in the beginning, the integrity of the NFL is more important than Patrick Mahomes. It's more important than Josh Allen. It's more important than every single player, coach, staff in the NFL. Because without the integrity, there's no product.
I just can't imagine that they didn't review these rules with them, especially after last year. I just can't imagine that there wasn't at least a meeting that reviewed these, if not multiple.
I compared it on Friday with Easy. It's almost like you get the terms and conditions. I bet
And you
Jameson just
scrolled
kind
all
of
the way down.
scrolled all the way down and just said, all right.
You know
I
what?
comply.
That's where compliance and leadership matters, because you're going to have a lot of guys with a lot of money
Yeah.
that just want to throw $1,000 here and $2,000 here, and they can afford that, and that's great. But your job as leadership is to sit them all down and you say, hey, look at your contract. If you do dumb shit like this, you lose your guaranteed money. If you do stupid stuff like this, you lose some of this money. We can take away your signing bonus. Where's the agent? Where are the advisors? Where's the internal team? To me, it's... I don't want to sit here and just say 50-50, but when you have 4 staff members and 4 team members, Cephas, and I forget the other 2. Cephas, by the way...
CJ Moore and Stanley Berryhill.
So Stanley was kept along with Jameson Williams.
Yes.
The other 2 were cut.
Yep, CJ Moore and Quintez are
And
both
CJ
cut.
Moore was a special teams captain,
Who
I
just
believe.
got an extension, who got a 2-year extension in the
That's
offseason.
what the NFL thinks of integrity. You can't bring the game into question.
Could you argue it's the NFL's greatest threat? I would say that. I think integrity. Because other than that, the NFL script, the narrative about the script or the NFL
Yeah, but that
being
was
rigged,
always garbage,
I feel
but the
like that's
idea that-
the biggest enemy of the NFL is its integrity, and that's why I feel like they hammer down on things like
My
this.
favorite thing seen that I saw this weekend, I don't know if you guys got to see this, was everybody tweeting out, the NFL has handed out their suspensions, brought to you by FanDuel and DraftKings. And as funny as that is, it's irrelevant. They're my sponsor.
Yeah.
What, just because Anheuser-Busch is a sponsor of my company, that means everybody gets to drink on the job? That's not how the fuck it works. Mm-hmm. So as clever and funny as you think you are, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
We're paying hundreds of millions of dollars if you're DraftKings FanDuel to be associated with the NFL. It's a $1 billion business. Don't mess with people's money. Don't. When we get back, Jameson Williams was caught in Vegas at the Ryan Garcia Tank Davis fight. By the way, hell of a fight. But Jameson Williams was on IG Live, and of course, we got to talk about it because I really have something I want to say about this. And if you guys agree, great. If not, great. I really don't care. It's what I think. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So we'll get to that next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
When we talk about defenses, let me tell you an elite defense, and that's Guardian Alarm. They got customized solutions from real experts. Their professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. You can call them anytime, day or night. Know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you for as long as you need. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work by people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today for more information.
You've heard of Gordon Ramsay. You've heard of Bobby Flay. But Thursday night Master Chef Brad Holmes will be in the kitchen with all of the ingredients needed to make a great dish on draft night. Join Woodward Sports for our 3rd annual Woodward Sports Draft Party, live at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. The past 2 years, these parties have been standing room only, so get your tickets early at eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on all the fun with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and the entire Woodward Sports crew. The party starts at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest draft party in the Motor City. brought to you by the biggest network, Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Fellas, are you feeling tired, depressed, or unmotivated? Low sex drive, muscle loss, or belly fat? My good friends Dr. Jason and his awesome team at Custom Health Centers are providing a testosterone optimization therapy that is safe and an effective way to restore your vitality. Visit CustomHealthCenters.com or give them a call today at 877-965-0910. That's 877-965-0910. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. If you're tuning in, make sure you like the video on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And if you aren't watching or listening live, you can always go back after the fact. Download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever the hell you listen to podcasts. I don't know these days. It's too many goddamn apps. I can't keep up with them, but I pay for them also. You know, that's our problem with society today. Here we are. All right. Jeff, we talked about Jameson Williams to start the show, the suspension, what it means, da-da-da-da. That's great. Frustration with the organization, communication. How did this happen? Okay, cool. Not even 2-3 days later. Not that he's doing anything wrong, because he isn't, legally.
Right. He might have had tickets already beforehand.
And that's fine. But to go out there, and then your buddies are all talking in the background, like, how much we win on this? How much you bet? It's like, dude, the optics are so shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? It may not matter to you guys, and that's fine. And this could be a dead story to you. But to me, those aren't the best optics. You were just suspended for 6 games. You are potentially costing the Lions a game or 2 or 3. Who knows? By you not being available in the first 6 games. God knows who's scheduled to start the year. It may be the most difficult part of your schedule. You're suspended for 6 games. And that's what you're doing? And Detroit, the front office, you sit down with the kid at all? Did you even talk to him? You say, hey, look, lay low. You're going to go to this fight that was pre-planned? Stay off social media. Just go, enjoy yourself, and come back and shut the hell up. Because we can take your $829,000 signing bonus if you don't fucking listen. And what happens? Nothing. He goes on Instagram Live, boasting about his bet. Everybody, his entourage around him. I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but for fuck's sake, optics do matter every once in a while. You were just suspended for 6 games. As a teammate, I would be irate with you. And you're now in Vegas, the betting capital of the world, bragging about the fight and your bet on IG Live with your entourage? I mean, come on, guys. And no, it's not the end of the world. No, that doesn't mean Jameson Williams isn't going to be a good player in the NFL. No, that doesn't mean he won't reach his potential with the Detroit Lions. It has nothing to do with any of that. But for fuck's sake, think twice, please. And the Lions organization, again, you just had this compliance disaster. You followed up with this, letting a player go to Vegas and not giving him the rundown of PR, like, hey, stay off social media. Don't let anybody know you're there. no fan pictures, put on a hoodie, enjoy yourself, get the hell out, fly back to Detroit. No. Gets through, goes to Vegas, public. The video's been taken down since, which I find hilarious, by the way. So PR was working this weekend, but really? That's the headache your organization needs? And again, it may not matter to you guys. You guys might not even care. That's fine. That's fine. But as somebody that works in, an organization, it's so frustrating. That is something you can prevent. That is such a non-story that just didn't need to happen.
I feel like Jeff is over here holding backwards. I'm just
letting him go.
No,
I'm
go.
just letting
Feel
you
free.
finish.
No, feel free. Interrupt if I'm wrong.
No. Well, I was letting you finish, and you're right. The optics aren't the best, and you've been consistent. You're pretty consistent with Jalen Carter. Character's a big thing for you, so I understand that. But I would ask you, and let's just assume Jameson had these tickets already pre-bought, because obviously I wouldn't assume that after this he would go and buy tickets.
I'm sure
to
he
Vegas.
bought them in advance, but
So, what would you prefer Jamo to do in this situation, given that he already had tickets to this event?
I would sit
So
him down.
you would say,
just sit him
don't
down.
Go to the event,
Low key.
stay off of social media. So
Just go enjoy your time.
Okay.
You bet. You do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. You can go to the casino for all I care. Put on a hoodie. Stay the hell out of the public spotlight. Don't let anybody see you.
So it's just your problem is the fact that he was on social media.
The optics are horrible.
Yeah, because
You just cost your team 6 games potentially.
and that's said and done. There's nothing that he could do to reverse that. So the 6 games are already they're going to happen regardless. So whatever he does, whether he goes to the fight or he doesn't, the 6 games is the 6 games. So this doesn't matter as much to me. I get there's a legit maturity concern. I think that's the biggest thing we kind of look at with the betting last year, dating back to when he wasn't playing, liking tweets about Lamar Jackson. I get all of that. Liking tweets about getting the ball more. Clearly, there's a little bit of a maturity issue. Now, is it concerning to the point where you're scared of Jameson not working out? No.
No, because you know what position he plays? Wide receiver. And they are some of the most diva-centric players in the NFL.
So, although it's not a good look, I wouldn't say this is a huge concern.
It's not an indictment on what I think he can be.
And I don't even think this is a huge indictment on his character personally. I think it doesn't change much. Because, again, going to a fight...
You have to at least question. I'm not...
No. There's a difference between going to the fight and then there's putting it all over social media and throwing it back in everybody's faces after you release a statement saying that you take full responsibility for your actions and you feel so sorry for the NFL, your teammates, and the fans in the city of Detroit.
Right.
You just absolutely slapped everyone back in the face.
I don't agree with it because he's admitting, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize to my teammates, but past that, what does he have to do past that? Just not go to the fight?
Not make jokes about it? Not let the people around you make jokes about it on social media? You're a public person. Once you're in this spotlight, you have to be very careful of who you surround yourself with. And clearly he's not surrounding himself with the correct people that are going to support him after something like this happens.
To me, if Jeff gets suspended by the network, right, and let's say it's for a similar situation, okay? First thing I'm doing is taking you in a room and I'm sitting you down. Bro, I love you. I love doing the show with you. You put on a hoodie. You shut the fuck up. You lay low for a week. Don't even tweet out on social media. Let the story die down. Go enjoy yourself. And come back and let's get back to work. It's bad enough you already are going to get suspended for 6 games. Let's not make it any more of a story than it is. That's just PR 101, which really pisses me off more on the Lions and than Jameson Williams, to be honest, is how do you let this happen again? 4 staff members suspended, then 4 players, and then 2 of them cut. And you don't even think to pull them to the side? And maybe they did. And say, hey, lay low. And then he did the opposite, which is why that video is down now. Maybe that is the case. And if that is the case, I'm pretty sure they're fucking heated in Allen Park right now. I'm sure they're not happy at all. And why would they be? And again, that doesn't mean Jameson Williams isn't going to be a fantastic player in the NFL. That doesn't mean Jameson Williams won't come back after the 6-game suspension and just take off in his second year. That's not to say any of that. I didn't make up this story. I didn't get him suspended. I didn't tell him to miss the first 6 games of the year because of a stupid rule. Whether you think it's stupid or not. A stupid decision. I didn't. I know you didn't. Neither did Gabby. So what would you like me to do? Sit here and say, oh, it's okay, he's young. Yeah, he's young, guys. It's okay, he's young. Fuck all the haters. Lion season, bro. Yeah, good he's suspended 6 more weeks for him to rest his knee. You dumb fucks. Is that what you want to hear? It's not okay. It's not. Jameson Williams is the 12th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. He was arguably the best wide receiver coming out. You have hopes that he can be an elite wide receiver in the NFL. You want him on the field. And now he's suspended for 6 games. It's not okay. It's not.
No,
and if he comes back and he's phenomenal, great. But that doesn't negate the fact that he's out for the first 6 games of the year because of a stupid decision.
Yeah. And I think my problem more so, I guess, would be, yes, posting on social media isn't smart. But I personally, at least, I don't think that going to the fight
going to the fight's not my problem.
It doesn't hurt him. And again,
him enjoying himself is not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just posting. Okay, posting
you gotta
about
stay
it.
Low.
Posting about it, I understand that.
You got to stay low.
The point I was making is, besides posting about it, which again isn't the smartest thing to do, there's not like a checklist of things he has to do after he apologizes. Like after he comes out with that statement, his agent does, and he admits, okay, my apologies to the city, my teammates, the organization. Like after that, it's pretty much just like back into the off season. Like stay low, stay quiet. To your point, but still, the fight isn't the issue. Maybe posting on social media would be.
It goes back to integrity,
yeah,
which is
I
what
guess
you
that's the
started
problem.
with, and he has zero integrity after putting that statement out, and then having those actions that followed. Zero integrity.
I don't know. I don't see it that way. Because again,
I think you're
just
giving
because,
him...
for example, use me as a comparison. Okay, so if I don't know how we can compare this to this show because it's very different, but for similar reasons,
you beat your kid and you're suspended for a week. You pulled the Adrian Peterson
yes,
stunt.
and I get suspended. I come out with a heartfelt apology, yada yada yada,
and then you're on social media waving the switch around. How would that look 2 days later?
Why do you got to say that?
I'm just saying.
No.
Let's use that situation.
Well, in Jamo's situation, he bought tickets to an event. Let's say I went to an event. I don't think me going to that event means that it takes away my apology and what I meant to that apology.
It doesn't.
I don't think it does.
But it doesn't look great when you go live on IG.
Yes. Now we're talking
and
about
your
going
entourage
live.
is boasting about your bet.
I can get with that. Yeah. Posting on social media is a great look.
That's the only problem.
Yeah, I don't think going to the fight was a big deal. Like it's
a PR disaster. That's all I know.
But yes, you can't spam the social media about, especially related to betting. I think that's a horrible look. And maybe the 6 games.
And again, that doesn't mean he doesn't work out. It has nothing to do with that.
He should have
But now
stopped.
I've lost him for another 6 games. Mm-hmm. He's given me a PR nightmare by going out and going live on social media. And I hope to God the Lions. Honestly, I don't even know which one I would rather have. Whether the Lions are stupid and they didn't tell him anything and then he went and did it, or that they told him and he still fucking went and did it. Both drive me nuts.
I cannot imagine that they told him or encouraged him to go or post on social media.
No, like they told him not to do it, and he
100%.
still went and did it. That
seems like the most
to me.
likely scenario to me. Will we ever know?
Terrible.
No. But that seems like the most likely.
Yeah, he's probably got
All right.
PR on his ass, no doubt.
Unreal,
from the
man.
Lions.
All right, let's take a break. When we get back, should the Detroit Lions be the betting favorite as a non-playoff team to make the playoffs this year? We look at some of the teams that didn't make it last year. Atlanta, big moves in the offseason. It looks like they're probably going to get the edge rusher they want at 8, reportedly. They're excited. Could it be Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin or the Lions? And I think this is a very straightforward answer, and there's a lot of factors, but we'll get to that next. But before we go, Gabby, our good friends over at Chili Peppers Tanning.
Chili Peppers Tanning, one of my favorite spots to stop at after work. They have the cleanest salons in the D, and they'll be all competitors by $5. Head over to chilipepperstanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not 1, but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, 1 for you, 1 for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Let one of our talented, award-winning stylists make you look handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. Try classic breakfast items like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffles. If you're not feeling breakfast, you can try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with the refreshing summer splash salad. Don't forget to grab dessert as well, including their very delicious classic strawberry pie, deep-fried vanilla Oreos, or a strawberry hot fudge cake, and more at Big Boy.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, if you're missing the show live, you can always go back, download the podcast, leave a 5-star review for Jeff's beautiful hair. Jeff, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Sorry I have to do this to you. You brought up Strawberry Fest, so it's the first thing I thought. That scab in the back of your throat, is it still there, or is it gone?
No, we're good. We're doing
Seriously?
Good. Yeah, we're doing
Are
good.
you feeling better this week?
Yes, I am. A lot better. Voice is better. Overall, I'm feeling better. Pretty much off my medicine, so it's a good week. It's a good week.
You sound less like Kermit the Frog.
I had a private doctor's
less
visit.
like Patrick Mahomes.
I had a private doctor's visit because of our conversation Friday this weekend. Mm-hmm. I have allergies.
You have allergies.
I do.
I told you.
Wow.
So I gotta go pick up my prescription today and start taking that shit.
Bad enough allergies to have like a prescription, not over the counter.
Oh yeah. And I never knew.
So you're a human being, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it didn't make sense for 3-4 months. I felt like my nose is always runny and stuffed, and I never knew why. I'm like, oh, it's the weather. And then there's Dr. Gabby over here. Or Dr. House, whatever you want to call her.
Marcello says he's allergic to good takes.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly. Yep, I agree. I suck at this. Honestly. I don't even know how this network even employs me at this point. Honestly. I'm so bad at this. Like, when do they just, like, watch in a room together and just sit there and say, this guy fucking sucks. Like, what are we doing? I don't get it.
Every day. And you're still here.
And I'm still here somehow.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
You know what?
Watch the show for 2 hours. That's all the content you need. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyways. Anyways, should the Detroit Lions, and JB, you brought this up, so I appreciate you for finding this.
Yeah.
Should they be one of the favorites or the favorite non-playoff team to make the playoffs next year? Jeff, I'll let you start. I have a different take on this, and I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me, so I'd like to hear you first.
Yeah, this is easy. They're the best non-playoff team right now. They're the best.
Period.
Yeah, period. There's not a better non-playoff team than the Lions. So, yes, to answer the question, yes, I do believe they would be the favorite non-playoff team to make the playoffs for a couple of reasons. Number one, they were the hottest team last year, even with the team as currently constructed. Before all the additions in free agency, before what they do in the draft, they were 8-2 down the stretch, one of the hottest teams. Nobody wanted to see the Lions last year to end the season. So if you take that, and you bundle up into the offseason, you look at who they signed, what they addressed, all the positions of need, as in the secondary, and then you go into the draft, and they're going to address it more with 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. They got assets, and they're going to get much better. So if you take all that into account, and they still have Jared Goff, who, say what you want about him, he's still a good quarterback. He's still good enough to take you to a playoffs, win a playoff game, and potentially even take you further. So you look at Atlanta, they still don't have a quarterback. You look at some of these other non-playoff teams, majority of them are trying to figure out the quarterback situation, or they're unsure about their quarterback situation. The Lions not only have their quarterback situation figured out for the time being, but they also have a damn good roster, a young roster full of young and up-and-coming players. So a lot going the Lions' way. I think if you bundle up last year, how they ended versus what they're adding, yeah, they're the best non-playoff team to me. It's not even a debate.
Okay, so here's our situation. Let's go to the AFC, and you tell me some non-playoff teams that you really like, okay? You go to the what? You go to the Pittsburgh Steelers if you want to. Let's go to the AFC, actually. I prefer to start with the AFC. You have the AFC where Pittsburgh is totally outmatched at the quarterback position. So even if I were to consider them, and I love the coach and I love what they build in Pittsburgh, I mean, talent is talent at the end of the day, and they don't have much more talent than a lot of the teams, even in their own division, let alone the AFC. Okay? Yeah. Atlanta. I like Atlanta. I like Arthur Smith. I don't know about their quarterback situation. Desmond Ridder, I'm really trying to put one and one together here and make it equal to, and I just can't. I don't know. I don't believe in it as much as they do.
I'm going to be honest. I don't even think they believe in it. I think he's starting to get them Caleb Williams next year.
Maybe. And you know what? Maybe that is the point, and that's the conversation they've had.
Yeah.
But when you go out and sign Jesse Bates and you waste a year of his big contract, and you have A.J. Terrell, and you have these guys, like, they're going to go probably defensive linemen, and they're going to get really good on defense, and they'll be good enough to make the playoffs. But if you want to talk about favorites, who's got a better quarterback, Atlanta or Detroit?
Oh, easily Detroit.
Okay, who's got a better backfield?
No, Detroit.
Better wide receiving core?
Detroit. Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's close.
I like Pitts in London, but
yeah, but Pitts
still.
Coming off an injury, it's
Regardless,
tough to say there.
yeah.
Offensive line, Detroit. Defensive line, Detroit.
Yeah.
Linebackers, give to Atlanta, maybe? Corners, you'd have to give to Atlanta,
yeah.
but honestly, it's only because A.J. Terrell's the best corner. I think he's better than Sutton and Mosley. The problem is Detroit has Gardner Johnson, so
yeah.
whether you want to negate it or
complete secondary, I don't know. I'd probably
complete
give to
secondary.
They got more
They
depth.
got Jesse Bates though.
But
It's close. Can we at least agree it's close?
Yeah.
I don't think Detroit
Yeah,
has a clear advantage, but if you want to give them the nod, I don't mind. That's fine. But Atlanta got really good in the offseason. But the point is, Detroit plays in the NFC, just like Atlanta. And they play in arguably just as weak of a division as Atlanta. Both of these teams have a clear path to the playoffs. I would say it's easier for Atlanta to win their division than Detroit. But guys, compare any AFC team that didn't make the playoffs to the Lions, and the Lions should be ranked ahead. Just by default because of the NFC. Forget their division. And then you have their over-under at 9.5. This is 11-win playoff. This is an 11-win playoff team this year, in my opinion. The Jameson Williams suspension, to be honest, in my opinion, doesn't even affect it. They were a top 5 offense without him last year.
Right.
Do I think it's frustrating? Absolutely. Do I think they can get by for 6 games? I do. Detroit has to be the favorite non-playoff team. The only argument you can make with Atlanta is that Carolina, Tampa Bay, both in rebuilds. And I'm missing one team. God, Adam.
But even Carolina,
Carolina, Atlanta. Who am I missing? The Saints. Oh, there you go.
I say, look at their own division.
Well, yeah, no, it's the Lions then. It's the Lions hands down.
Yeah,
Forgot about the Saints.
Because I would put the Saints and I would put Carolina even neck and neck. If they get their franchise quarterback, they have a pretty good roster, good defense. They added to their offense, and if Bryce Young can play, if you told me Carolina wins more games than Atlanta this year, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't. So
Saints have a good defense.
And you still have the Saints, who I think will win that division. So, yeah.
Saints have a good defense. They've been one of the best teams in terms of drafting talent since the year 2000.
Yeah.
Their draft record is up there with everybody that you can think of in the NFL, the top-tier teams like the Niners, the Ravens, the Steelers. The Saints have always been good since really the Sean Payton era in terms of drafting talent.
Right.
They've been unbelievable. They added Derek Carr. They have weapons on offense. I like the Saints. I like the Saints more than Atlanta, that's for sure, especially because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah, and you telling me, I'll take Carolina's defense. I'll take if you put Bryce Young over Desmond Ridder, I'll take Bryce Young. And then you got Hayden Hurst, DJ Chark. They got some weapons. They have a pretty good offensive line. They got Miles Sanders. They just added. Frank Reich can coach. They got some pretty good coaches on their staff. Give me. I would even take Carolina over Atlanta, to be honest with you. I'm going that far.
Well, I think that goes without saying then. Detroit's the favorite.
Yes, no question. You can't give me two teams in the NFC North better than the Lions. Go on, JB. Yeah.
Detroit the favorite non-playoff team to make it next year. I think that's pretty easy to say.
That's more than fair. Hands down, they are the best team to make it. I can't see any other team that you guys have named that honestly jump off the page and would be like, all right, these are playoff contender teams right here. So give me the Lions, hands down. And
I can even go a step further. Out of all the non-playoff teams, which team do you think not only can go from not playoffs or no playoffs to playoffs,
but last to first?
That can go on a run.
Oh,
now, maybe not Super Bowl.
I think only the Lions are capable.
Go on a deep playoff run. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I give the Steelers a nod just because how much I respect their coach, but That's out of respect.
I got more data.
I got more data that suggests the Lions are going to minimum win one playoff game this year.
So,
regardless of who they draw, because who can the Lions, if and when I believe they win the North, who will they draw? Right, you're going to have Philly winning their division again, likely. The Niners winning their division again, likely. The Lions winning it. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, New Orleans, Carolina, I don't care who wins the division. It doesn't matter. Who are the 3 other playoff teams that are wild cards? Dallas? I like Detroit more than Dallas. Who else?
I'll take Dallas.
Atlanta?
In the playoffs.
I like Detroit more than Atlanta.
Yeah.
Who? The Rams? I like Detroit more than the Rams. I like Detroit more than the Seahawks. I like Detroit more than every team in the NFC.
Even if the Giants squeak in again.
Even if the Giants get in.
Yeah.
No problem.
Jets with Aaron. Oh, no, that's AFC. Never mind. But still,
I'll ask
Giants.
JB, feel free to chime in on this one. Direct question to both of you. Which team, which roster, which rebuild would you rather be in position with right now? Lions or Giants?
Oh, give me Lions.
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 Yeah.
Seahawks, Lions.
Yeah, give me Lions.
Still the Lions.
Lions.
Okay. Rams, Lions. I think it's pretty easy. Everyone across the room, Lions, yeah?
Yeah, Lions.
I can do this with every team in the NFC right now outside of Philly and the Niners, and you will all give me the same answer. That's the point. Lions have the 3rd best team in the NFC. And everyone likes the Dallas Cowboys right now, rightfully so. They made the playoffs last year. They earned their spot, no problem. I get it. Sign me up. Lions are the 3rd best team in the NFC.
Give me the Cowboys with Mark McCarthy calling plays, please. I would love that matchup. I know it gives some Lions fans
That'll
PTSD,
be the revenge game.
But even the Cowboys, the only 2 teams that I would be fearful of if I'm the Lions would be those 2 who were in the NFC Championship game last year. And one of those teams, the 49ers, you got to get Brock healthy back. So, yeah, really just the Eagles to me and the 49ers, the 2 teams that I think, okay, you got to look at those guys. You got to get past those teams before you even get anywhere. The Cowboys, to me, are kind of in the same area as the Lions. You know, they're 3rd, 4th best team in the NFC, just like the Lions. So, Lions are in a good spot.
All right. When we get back, we'll take a break from the Lions. The Oilers, Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, a ballsy performance last night, tying up the series 2-2. That's exciting. The Warriors tying it up. Jeff, maybe what I told you is going to end up coming true. Maybe it does end in 6. I think the Warriors broke Sacramento mentally. We'll get to that next. The NBA playoffs coming up for a little bit. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll get to Jameson Williams. And does his situation and his suspension prevent the Detroit Lions from drafting this player? We'll get to that at 9 o'clock. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Let me tell you about them. Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Swiss can now make sure you have the proper coverage. Give them a call and you won't be disappointed. Contact them, mark@swissins.com for more information.
You've heard of Gordon Ramsay. You've heard of Bobby Flay. But Thursday night Master Chef Brad Holmes will be in the kitchen with all of the ingredients needed to make a great dish on draft night. Join Woodward Sports for our 3rd annual Woodward Sports Draft Party, live at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. The past 2 years, these parties have been standing room only, so get your tickets early at eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on all the fun with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and the entire Woodward Sports crew. The party starts at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest draft party in the Motor City, brought to you by the biggest network, Woodward Sports.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Back. It is the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. We have lots going on, clips. And if you are watching on the website, be sure to check out our articles. If you're listening after the fact, be sure to download our podcast episodes and leave a 5-star review.
All right, we're back here on the morning show, and you know what? I gave the NBA playoffs a lot of shit, especially round 1. But in the Western Conference, it's lived up, man. The Western Conference has been amazing. The East is whatever. Knicks up 3-1. Celtics, they're up 3-1 as well. The Nets have already been swept by the Sixers. The Bucks, Giannis coming back for Game 4 tonight. That'll be interesting. Can they make that series interesting with Miami? But they just lost Victor Oladipo. So the East is what it is. I think we know what's going to happen in the East. But you had Minnesota win last night after a major collapse with 2 minutes left, which was ridiculous. Blew a 12-point lead. But the story of the weekend's got to be the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Coming back from 2-0, even the series, protect home court. They did it in Game 3 without Draymond. Steph Curry reminded everybody why he's one of the most valuable players in all of basketball and one of the most valuable players we've seen in the last 15, 20 years of the game of basketball. His off-ball movement, his ability to hit timely, big-time shots. He's unbelievable. He even clamped De'Aaron Fox at the end of that game, which led the ball to get into Harrison Barnes' hands, which he contested on, by the way. And Barnes missed the shot, which, you could argue he should have made it, whatever. Steph Curry pulling the, God, who did it? Was it Jalen Rose or Juwan Howard who called the timeout for Michigan?
That was Chris Webber.
Chris Webber, God. I always forget who did it.
That was Chris Webber.
Chris Webber calling the timeout. Steph Curry gave his best impersonation of that, which I thought was hilarious as well. But, man, that's a series. It's a physical series. Kayvon Looney is so fucking important to that team as well. The work he's able to do on Domantas Sabonis, I think very underrated. I'm loving the series, man.
Yeah, it's a great series. And I talked about it on From Half Court. Me, Sean, and Troy discussed it. Even they were down 2-0. We talked about it. I would not be shocked if the Warriors tied the series up. They went back to Sacramento, and now you're tied 2-2. Like the Warriors, despite how much they struggled this season on the road, despite how much they struggled defensively, staying healthy, they're still the reigning defending champs. So even with a team like Sacramento, who isn't the greatest defensively, the Warriors can still find ways to win. And if you're shooting that well from three, like they were, I mean, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole, all from three-point land, they combined together for 11 of 26. So together, those three made a tremendous impact. And again, even Draymond coming off the bench, he provided grit, defensive versatility. Nice to have him back. He almost had a triple-double. But still, the Kings, man, I mean, they're fighting like hell. And De'Aaron Fox is elite. But again, what does that get you? I mean, you needed Keegan Murray last night. He stepped up. He played well. But still, the Kings, to me, they're just not there yet. They're still young. It was an exciting story for the Kings this year, and I think they're still alive in this series, but I still had the Warriors in 6, and I'm going to stay by that.
Flannel Sam, you better not comment in this chat, man. I'm not in the mood for this morning. I am not. Steph Curry tried his best to choke that game away in the shut up. Shut up. He was bailed out. He clamped De'Aaron Fox, got the ball out of the best player's hands, and then contested Harrison Barnes on the final shot. Steph Curry alone won that game at the end with his defensive play. Stop it.
And honestly, you talk about a big momentum swing. Like that game, that was the Kings game to win. Because then you go up 3-1, you go back to Sacramento. Now it's a completely different series. Now it's 2-2. You're going back to Sacramento.
Warriors in 6, baby.
It's tough. Yeah.
Warriors in 6.
Especially with the adjustments. I mean, Mike Brown, Steve Kerr, I talked about it here on the morning show. The biggest, chess match between those two guys as well. Mike Brown,
love it, man.
They
work
work together.
I think the Kings are really good, by the way.
They are, but
they're so good.
Are they ready yet? I don't think so.
Are they ready? I love Mike Brown and the work he's done this year with Sacramento. It's really been unbelievable.
He was coach of the year.
Rightfully coach of the year.
Deserved it.
I think they're a young team. De'Aaron Fox, first-time clutch player of the year, the inaugural clutch player of the year for whatever that is, but it's a stupid award.
Most points scored in the fourth quarter or whatever it is.
We'll just add things at this point. But anyways, moving on from that, I think the Kings are positioned for really some long-term success with the team they have right now.
Some fun years ahead. For sure,
yeah, absolutely. I just think the Warriors mentally are going to edge out the series. I think it's done in 6. I don't think Golden State lets them go back to Sacramento after Game 5 loss.
And this is kind of how the series I thought would go too. I mean, both teams, even the Kings, as good as they are on the road in the West, their record, I mean, they're not as good defensively to back that up. So this series could be easily each team wins at home, and then it's Game 7 in Sacramento to decide the winner. So we'll see.
All right.
Even if you go to Game 7, I'm still taking the Warriors, even on the road. Like,
all right, let's talk about the East for a little bit. Giannis hopefully coming back tonight. Status still up in the air. This is must-win for Milwaukee.
Yes. Victor
Oladipo down for Miami. Who wins the series, Jeff?
I'm gonna still go with the Bucks. Miami
regardless.
Heat, the Miami Heat, they got one. They stole one. But regardless, once Giannis comes back, to me, the Bucks are the best team in the East. Although it doesn't feel like that right now. Even if they're down 2-1 to the Heat, I'm not shaking. It would have to be 3-1, and then you can at least say, okay, you're worried about the Bucks. But right now, even down 2-1, if Giannis gets back healthy, I'm not concerned. I think Giannis is the biggest thing. To me, the harder loss was losing Tyler Hero. Giannis is still significant if they want to make a playoff run, but to me, the Bucks can still win this series even without Giannis. But I expect him to be back soon. So
that says a lot about their support staff.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucks though. I'm not.
What do you think
of
yet. The NBA's? Maybe not the one of. What do you think about one of the NBA's most gifted, talented, skilled players that'll be playing in the 10 o'clock slot tonight? Lakers, Memphis. What do you think of Dylan Brooks?
Dude.
I knew JB would like that.
He's got to be one of the most annoying players. I mean, whether you like him or not, and this is why I love the NBA, because you see guys like Dylan Brooks, and some people root for him because they love it. Some people like me hate it because I don't think
every team needs a Dylan Brooks, except you got to back up the talk.
It's like you hate him if he's on the opposing team, but you love him if he's on your team.
Yeah, but that's like a Draymond, right? So we don't appreciate enough what Draymond does for Golden State. How good of a I think he's always been the second best player on that team outside of the years Kevin Durant was there. But you want to talk about important players? There's nobody more important outside of Steph on that team than Draymond. But Draymond doesn't just talk shit and go out and play like Dylan Brooks. Draymond gives you all NBA defense.
And he has accolades.
Night in, night out.
Accolades.
His passing ability. His ability to play in the pick and roll. Dylan Brooks is just Dylan Brooks. And he's talking a lot. But, boy, he's got to step up tonight because last I checked, LeBron's putting up almost 30 on 67% shooting right now. So the LeBron stoppers really don't work out when they talk shit.
And this is what I love, too. Dylan Brooks is always – he's the, I guess, dedicated talker for the Grizzlies, but he's probably their, fifth, sixth best player. Like, that's my problem. Like, you can't be the guy that barks but then stands back when you go to war. Like, when the Grizzlies go to war, you're taking Ja, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, hell, even Brandon Clark, Luke Kennard, Tyus Jones, before I even get to Dylan Brooks. And the fact that you're the loudest, Dylan Brooks, I want LeBron in the first round. Well, you got him. You got him. So here we go. Dylan Brooks, you're probably going to lose this series. I'll go Lakers in 6. And I know a lot of injuries have happened, but even with Ja Morant, they still were getting smoked last game. So it is what it is. But Dylan Brooks, if you're going to talk, man, you got to back it up. Got to back it up. I just hate people like Dylan Brooks, personally, with no accolades.
I think you'd love him on your team.
No accomplishments, but he's the one talking. It's awesome. I love it.
Oh, man. That is awful. What do you think? Memphis evens the series or no chance?
No,
Lakers winning 5, 6. What do you got?
Give me Lakers in 6.
Oh, so they win in Memphis?
Yeah, maybe they win tonight, but give me the Lakers in 6. And
then, not in Memphis. They win in L.A.?
Yeah, they win in L.A. And then I think Memphis wins, and then Lakers close it out. I think the Lakers face the Golden State Warriors in the next round, which will be a great series. And we'll see then.
Okay. Talk to me about matchups in the West.
Yep.
I think in the East, it's a clear path for the Celtics. Bucks... Yep. If Giannis is healthy, they turn the series around. They can somehow win 3 straight and win in 6. You can convince me that Milwaukee's back. I think the conference finals inevitably should be Boston and Milwaukee. But what about the West? You've got likely the Denver Nuggets playing the Phoenix Suns. And you've got likely the LA Lakers, depending on what happens tonight, who knows, that will play the Warriors unless Memphis really turns it around and shows us a team that we thought they've been all year, which is one of the best teams in all of the NBA.
Yep.
What matchup are you looking most forward to, and who do you got in the conference finals? Way too early to say still, but if you have to take a guess now.
So 2 matchups I'm excited for. I think the Bucks, even though they're down 2-1, even if they can come and beat the Miami Heat, they come back. they're going to get either the Knicks or the Cavs next round. So, to me, the Bucks have the easiest path to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics have to go through the 76ers. So, to me, the best matchup in the East is that matchup in the second round. The 76ers facing the Celtics. And say what you want, I'm not a big 76ers believer in what as they're currently constructed. I like Joel Embiid, but still, I think that series will be great. And in the West, I think the Nuggets and Suns will be a great series because you have a Suns team who they're the fourth seed, but they got Kevin Durant after the trade deadline. The record really doesn't display how much talent they actually have on the roster. So if you have a one-seed Nuggets team facing a Suns team with Kevin Durant, I think that's going to be a great series. So, the West is more wide open to me. I think even if you say the Warriors and Lakers, Nuggets and Suns, you can convince me any of those teams are going to make the finals.
If a team is playing at their max potential, who's getting out of the West? If I were to tell you they're playing their best ball.
I mean,
you're going to say Phoenix, aren't you?
Yeah, I like the Suns a lot.
Do you not think the best version of the Nuggets or Warriors could beat the Phoenix Suns?
Here's the problem, because you're right. I think the Nuggets are a more complete team. But if you're giving me the Suns with their two best players, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, like I like Jokic a lot, I like Jamal Murray, but like what Devin Booker's doing in the playoffs and KD hasn't really fully turned it on yet, that's a big problem. And they still got DeAndre Ayton, they still got Chris Paul. I know Chris Paul is a shell of himself, but still he can provide something. I like this. The Suns to me have the highest upside. Maybe they don't have the deepest roster. But if they're clicking, if you're talking to me, Jeff, what team at firing at all cylinders is the most dangerous? I'm going to go with the Suns out of the West.
Okay, what about the East? Celtics, Milwaukee.
I'll go Milwaukee.
Ooh,
just because they're a really good roster. I mean, it's they haven't technically the Celtics haven't beaten a healthy Bucks team yet. Haven't seen it. Last time they faced a healthy Bucks team, they lost. And the Bucks won a championship. So I haven't seen it. So I can't say the Celtics are going to beat them. I have no evidence about that. And last year, they took them 7 games to beat a Chris Middleton-less Bucks team. Like, let's not forget.
I love watching I love watching Jeff talk hoops.
It's just,
he just comes alive. At 9 a.m.
I know.
He's wide awake.
I'm excited.
I love it. Look, let's take a break. When we get back, will Jameson Williams, his suspension, stop the Lions from pulling the trigger on Jalen Carter if he is available at 6? We'll get to that next. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Planet Fitness, home of the $10 a month gym. Guys, there's no better time, no better place to get yourself in shape. Your fitness is essential. Sign up today. Go to one of their many Metro Detroit locations or by visiting them at planetfitness.com. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. If you're watching on woodwardsports.com, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out all the articles and merchandise we also have going on. If you're listening after the fact, be sure to download the podcast and leave a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, we see you in the chat. Be sure to like and subscribe.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Jeff, you know what? Before we get to this conversation, Ashton, Kate's trainer, put out something on Twitter. He was doing a 3-on-3 tournament in the future in Dearborn. And Anthony from Pistons Talk tagged me and was like, yo, Adam.
Of course he tagged you.
And I commented back. I'm like, guys, you don't want to see me hoop. Basketball's like my 5th sport. Like, I do everything else but hoop ever. I haven't hooped in like 10, 12 years. But anyways.
Yeah.
I responded, and then Ashton responds like, "Bring your squad." I'm like, "Oh God, who are the two best basketball players I know?" I tag Koo and Jeff. Koo just leaves me out hanging. Jeff replies like, "Yeah, we got this." And I'm like, "Oh shit, two white boys on the court. We're gonna get fucked."
Squad deep.
We're so screwed. So Koo, if you're watching, please answer my text.
Sorry, listen.
I can't be out there.
No. We would get creamed.
Listen,
I'm sorry, Gabby.
If Koo can't do it, I got backup. We'll make sure we got 3. I know some
God.
people. All right, we'll make sure I can get Brandon. I mean, we got some people.
Oh, we got
on deck.
Brandon. Sorry, we got Kool-Aid. There you go.
We got
I'll
some.
just fake an injury and Kool-Aid will come off the bench. And then we'll win.
Hell, we'll bring in Gentry
Then
too,
we'll
man.
win.
We'll bring in a whole squad. We'll take
All right.
care of it.
Coming up 9:15 and 9:30, Jeff and I will break down positional rankings, our top 5 big board. Each of us will share our top 5 on defensive linemen and corners in the upcoming draft. We'll get to that. But before we do, Jameson Williams, will his suspension stop or prevent Brad Holmes from making a tough decision, let's say, on passing on Jalen Carter at 6 if he is available? Jeff, I'll let you answer this one first.
So I'm going to be honest. You'll be a little shocked by my answer because
I'm not shocked if you're going to say, "Oh no, I don't think so."
No, I think it will. I do.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I do. I do.
Shit.
I do.
What?
I was not expecting
And
that.
here's the kicker with it too. I think Brad Holmes has an idea what he already wants to do, whether he was more interested in Jalen Carter or not. I think he's pretty much decided. I know he tells the media, we're still going through things. BS. Like they have at least a grasp of what they want to do at 6, but with new information, you're allowed to change your opinion. And the new information is now Jameson Williams being suspended. I think there's repercussions of that. And I think Brad Holmes seeing this and seeing the narrative, not even just Jameson, by the way. It's not even just about Jamo. Quintez, CJ Moore, Stanley Berryhill, all the staff they got fired last month. I think all that in totality, and then you take into account the drafts this Thursday, and if they take a guy at 6 who has a ton of controversy with him, I do think there's some merit to that, personally. I do. Although I would like to say, no, Jalen Carter, he should still be the pick at 6, which I do believe. I would be lying if I didn't say think Brad Holmes at least now thinks about it. Like, yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
In a 2-week span, we have players get suspended.
4 players. And 4 staff members.
And then the next week we take Jalen Carter, the most controversial player in the entire draft.
They had to have known about this before they even brought Jalen
they did.
Carter
Yeah,
in.
and they definitely did. Yeah, they definitely
So they
did.
took this information into that
The
meeting with
Jalen
him.
Carter sit down. Yep, absolutely
So,
they did.
to be quite frank with you, yeah, I do think this affects the draft a little bit.
So, whether we like it or not, and you guys can call it unfair, you guys can call it a witch hunt. At the end of the day, is it good? And this is a question for all of you in the room. Is it good for not only the Detroit Lions, but you as fans that pay your hard-earned money to go to these games, watch on the NFL Sunday Ticket or whatever you watch on, your local news station, whatever it may be. You have friends over, you cook barbecues, dinners, whatever it may be on Sundays. Mm-hmm. You work your ass off to watch these games. You work your asses off. You spend your hard-earned money. Is it fair that the Lions and you won't watch Jameson Williams for the first 6 games? Is that okay? Jeff, is that okay?
No.
JB?
It's not.
Is that okay?
I mean, it's not, but I think we can live with it for 6 games.
You can live with it, but is it okay? Is the idea of a player, any player, let alone some of your best players, missing time because of stupid decisions, is that okay?
No.
Is that ideal?
No.
Is that something you want to have to worry about?
I mean, I would like to not have to worry about it, especially with the aspirations that this team has and the goals that we put forward for them to have. So it does suck.
Exactly. Gabby?
No.
So it's not about Jamo or even Jalen Carter. I need you on the field, man. Jameson Williams is letting down his teammates right now. They all know this. I'm sure they've talked. They'll move on, and hopefully he'll come back and he'll be a very good football player for this team. That's a small preview of what can happen. And there's even a worse side to this, by the way. See, people like to think, oh, Jameson Williams came back last year. Man, he was explosive. He lined up for like 7-8 snaps a game down the stretch. Yeah, when he touched the ball, he was electric, but it was always on gadgets and then the busted coverage by Minnesota, I believe, is only touchdown in the year. Mm-hmm. I got high hopes for Jameson Williams, but this is a preview of what having this type of player does. It's not ideal. You think it was ideal for Calvin Ridley to be suspended for a full year? You think that made Atlanta very happy?
No.
You think it made Jacksonville very happy?
And you know what makes it even worse too? Like for Calvin Ridley and for Jamo, like they didn't have a history of doing anything, out of pocket. Like this was, you think the Lions on a day-to-day basis were like, yeah, we got to worry about Jameson. Like they never.
I think people questioning his character, I think that's a bit much. I think you just have to question his maturity.
There you go.
And more than anything, it's like, hello, and welcome to a preview with Jalen Carter. Carter, it may not be the betting side of it. It may not be that, but it may be him not giving full effort on plays, him not showing up to camp in shape, him not being in shape in season, getting hurt because he's out of shape, and missing games because of it. This is a little preview of what that could look like. And to answer the question, do I think Brad Holmes passes on him because of the Jameson Williams situation? I actually disagree. I'm going to say no. I don't think so. I think Brad Holmes has already made up his mind whether to draft him or not to draft him, even with the Jameson Williams information. I don't think it has any bearing.
Not even a little bit.
As much as I want to think that, when you evaluate a player, you're making that decision based on the player, not based on what's happened in the past with your players.
I'm going to use his words. It's a case-by-case basis.
There you go.
And I think they're completely different cases.
They are. They are. One, you're questioning his motor, his work ethic, his commitment. And with Jameson Williams, God bless him, hell of a talent, but I took you 12th overall. And I know the GM said, oh, I really wasn't even considering him playing his first year. I didn't care. Cool. I love you, Brad. That's awesome. And now I'm losing him for the first 6 games of the year. That's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, when you draft a player like this, or any other player for that matter, it doesn't matter if it's Jalen Carter. If they're going to miss games, that's a problem. Especially when they miss games without showing you anything. Jameson Williams hasn't shown us anything. He's touched the ball, 3-4 times legitimately in the NFL, and then had a touchdown called back, I believe, against Green Bay. He's shown us the explosiveness, and that's why we're all very optimistic about him, and rightfully so. He's explosive, hell of a player. But doesn't mean much if he's not on the field. You want to use Jeff Okudah as an example. Injury stopped him. Well, he was a bum his first year. And then he got burnt all preseason prior to the injury. So it's not like I was optimistic for him to return.
Right.
All I had seen was shit.
Yeah, Jamo's shown us flashes.
Jamo's at least giving you something, but it's not even much to even consider as a data point. It's 3-4 touches maybe.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm excited for the kid. I think he can be an explosive, impactful wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think it really has any bearing on Jalen Carter because the situations are so different. I don't think we would have had this conversation about Jamo coming out. It was really about his injury problems.
Yeah.
And that's a case where, case by case, Jamo comes in the door, and then you discover, well, that I don't like that, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. You don't get the full picture 99% of the time until they're in the door. I use marriage as a perfect example of this. You can date someone, but until you marry them and you're committed to them, and then you live in the same house, and then you have your toothbrushes next to each other, and then you fold your clothes a certain way, and you put them back. Until you go through all that shit, you don't know what it's like to live with this person. You just don't know. You don't know until you're in the fucking ground zero with this person.
You're in the trenches.
Yes.
Yeah.
JB, do they pass on Jalen Carter because of this?
I really hope that they don't, but given the information, I feel like Carter's kind of been off their boards for a while now. I think, as you said, Brad Holmes already knows who he's going to pick at 6, or even if they stay at 6, because there's that rumor that they might be moving up to 3 to take Will Anderson, which would be nice, but more than likely, I don't see that to be happening. So, at 6, I think you're going to get a corner off the board, first corner.
And if they knew about this Jamo stuff for a while now, like clearly more longer than any of us knew about it, and you've kind of known for a while that they were already hesitant on Jalen Carter, you don't think any of those two things are intertwined?
I think to an extent.
Not saying Jameson directly impacts whether they'll draft Jalen, but just the fact that you have two players with a lot of question marks. Not saying they're the same question marks, but Jamo's out for 6 games. You know, you just had other players get suspended indefinitely. You let go of a ton of staff members. The Lions last year, where everyone's, you know, second favorite team still now. Everyone's rooting for the Lions. Not too many bad storylines out on them. And then in a matter of a couple weeks, you got Jamo, and then now you got Jalen Carter. Like, I think that directly impacts. Not saying, you know, I don't want to say that just because of this Jamo situation, they're out on Jalen, but with everything kind of together, like, I can see Brad being like, I don't know if I want to bring in more, you know, bad publicity by drafting Jalen Carter, because now you'd have a big, you know, you'd have 2 big microscopes zoomed in on Jalen Carter and Jameson Williams this year. Like, it's, I don't know. Part of me believes it, but again, I think the whole hesitancy on drafting Jalen Carter, I think they've had that long, maybe before even.
Well, I think you even saw Brad Holmes' frustration, Gabby, bleeding over in the press conference.
100%. And now seeing all this information after the fact, and I'll give it to Ryan, he called it out before anyone did, that the single sentence that he said in regards to Williams practicing and then jumped from the topic. But the other thing that I take away from that into this conversation is not only the case by case, but he said, I'm a human being evaluating other human beings. And there's going to be some level of judgment in the back of his mind based off of this information. Do I think it will directly impact his decision on Carter? No. But he wouldn't be a human being if it wasn't in the back of his mind when he is making this decision and when the organization is making this decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fun. Would you rather have Jameson Williams out there week 1? I know I would. I'd love to have him out there. He's not. Let's say, in theory, you take Jalen Carter. Misses the first 3 games. Tight hamstring. Didn't come into camp in shape. Then comes back. Gets hurt by week 7. Or he's playing like shit and he's out of shape. Is that fun? That doesn't sound like fun to me.
No, it's not fun.
That's not fun at all. But Aiden Hutchinson comes into camp last year, out of shape. What would you be saying? What a bust. We picked this piece of shit out of Ann Arbor. Can't even show up to camp in shape. Can't even give us full commitment. I thought he was a high motor guy. You'd be crushing Aiden Hutchinson if he did this.
But
he's not like that.
There you go.
And I don't have to worry.
So I get that. But there's also the other part of it. Jalen Carter comes in week 1 and starts dominating offensive lines. It's
sure.
Like, well, then, yeah, you're good.
Sure, the data point data point suggests that is very unlikely. With players that struggle with these issues. And at Jameson Williams' position,
I was gonna say,
they're more likely to succeed just because of the nature of the wide receiver position. So with Jamo, no, it's not the end of the world, but I'm very upset with you because I'm missing you for 6 games. If you can't even give me that, go fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. Every single one of you.
But that's the scary part. Jameson never had a history of anything. And now he's been out over a year because of an ACL injury. Now he's out another 6 games because of breaking a pretty big rule in the NFL.
You never know what you're going to get into because these are human beings at the end of the day.
There you go. So that's why
you like to think you know, but you only know so much.
Of course. You can't predict everything that's going to
happen. Remember, Mel Kiper said that Jamarcus Russell, fat man, donut eating man himself, was the next John Elway. Remember that. And we all make mistakes.
You know what's funny, too? People don't know about Jalen Carter because I started digging more over the last about week of just his playing his last season at Georgia. Like, people don't, because I hear a lot of the narrative about he's lazy, you know, yada, yada, yada. You know, he played injured through games at Georgia this year. Like, people don't know that either. Like, he played hurt. For a guy who's lazy, like, you'd think he would just not play hurt, right?
Definition of hurt.
He had a high ankle sprain, and he also had a tweaked knee, I believe. I forgot the specific game, but he played injured at Georgia. So I'm just saying, you could say what you want about Jalen Carter, but just because you hear something, please do your own research. Don't just use he's immature because of you heard it. Like, I get the situation with the law, but still, I mean, if you're talking about him playing on the football field, he's been pretty good for Georgia, and Georgia loves him. So I don't know. It's just my opinion on that.
All right, what do you want to do first? Defensive linemen or cornerbacks?
Let's do defensive line. Now that we're on the topic.
Defensive line?
Yeah, we'll start there.
All right, Jeff and I will release our top 5 big board for defensive linemen coming out in the draft coming up next, and then at 9:30 we'll do our top 5 corners. JB, Gabby would love your feedback on our lists as well as everybody in the chat. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. Scan the QR code that you see on the screen or visit cousinsmainelobster.com. Click on locations, find out where they're at, and treat yourself to an excellent lunch. Start your Monday off right with lobster tacos, clam chowder soup, and of course a side of tots. Drink whatever the hell you want. That's on you. I'm not going to tell you what to drink, but I'll definitely tell you what to eat. You'll thank me later. cousinsmainlobster.com.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been, I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show on woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on the website, be sure to check out our articles. Some great draft content coming up all this week, as well as some gear to get you ready for Lions season. If you are listening via podcast, be sure to download and leave us a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and leave us a like. Thanks.
All right, Jeff.
And we're off.
Positional rankings, our top 5 big board for defensive linemen in the upcoming NFL draft. How would you like to do this? 1 by 1, from 1 to 5, or 5 to 1?
We'll do 5 to 1.
5 to 1?
Yep.
Would you like to start first or me?
You start first.
All right, number 5 on my list is going to be Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith has, you could argue outside of Will Anderson, the fastest first step off the edge. Incredible athlete. Bendability, if that's even a word. His ability to get low. I love the idea of Nolan Smith as a player. I'm not talking here just for the Lions in general. To me, the perfect example of what a run defender is in the NFL. Very physical in one-on-one matchups. Again, his ability to bend is going to cause a lot of havoc in the NFL. If done right, this guy's going to be a good player in the NFL. He's just a bit small compared to other edge rushers in the NFL. I would say that's the only knock. He's not much of a power rusher. And of course, he tore his pec in October. What? Who was it against? LSU or Florida? Mm-hmm. Nolan Smith tore his pec, I think, against Florida maybe. I can't remember. So there's that. That's who I got at 5.
So for me, 5, I'm going to go Kalijah Kancey. Yeah, he's at 5 for me.
He made your top 5?
Yeah, he did. Because really going through everything, I mean, there's a ton of good edge rushers and defensive linemen. I mean, just some guys that were left off this list that I think are still in, I guess, around the top 5. You could bring up Will McDonald, Lucas Van Ness, Brian Bursey. Those guys are notable mentions, but still, yeah, 5. I'm going to go with Kalijah Kancey, an absolute monster getting after the passer. And we know how valuable interior pass rush is in this league. I mean, if you can get someone like Kalijah Kancey, you can play inside, can rush the quarterback. I know there's concerns about his size, but the guy can still gain weight. He's 6 foot, undersized a little bit as a defensive lineman, but still didn't stop him at Pitt. He was an absolute monster. Look up his pass rush win rate. It's unbelievable what he was able to do against pretty good offensive linemen. Give me Kalijah Kancey at 5. I think he's a first-round pick, despite what anybody thinks. I think 18 would be viable if you pass on him at 6. But something tells me that teams are going to be more interested in Kalijah Kancey. So for his just skill getting after the passer, he's 5 for me, despite some concerns for him in the run game.
All right. My 4th best defensive lineman in this draft is going to be Tyree Wilson. Tyree Wilson coming out of Texas Tech. His frame, unbelievable. And the way he moves doesn't make sense for a guy that big.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of really good check the boxes when you look at any defensive player on the defensive line that you love to see. The age, is it a concern? Not really. He's just a late bloomer. I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all. It doesn't really bother me. His first step is good. It's kind of just fluid. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing special. It's nothing lightning quick like maybe a Will Anderson or even Nolan Smith, for example. But it's good. It's good. It's not bad. And then he does have a part of his game where he's just a football player where he goes, but he also has tunnel vision. And I think you have to work on that. He's going to land number 4 for me on my list. I do like 2 edge rushers, which I think you can name. Or excuse me, I do like 1 edge rusher, obviously more than him, and that would be Will Anderson, but we'll get to him later on the list. Who do you got it for?
Yeah, Miles Murphy. 4 coming in. Miles Murphy, 6'5", 275. I mean, the guy, he's massive. And at Clemson, I think he's one of the guys you've seen mocked in the teens. I've seen him mocked in the top 10. I've seen him float around a lot. But still, he's got to add some more pass rushing moves. I think that's the biggest critique of Miles Murphy. But still, 76 pressures over the last 2 seasons. Think about that for a second. Like, you talk about his measurables. They compare a lot to last year's number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, in terms of his athleticism score, his size, his weight, his measurables. Like, the guy, to me, Miles Murphy, should slide up draft boards. I think he's a top 15 pick, one of the best edge rushers, one of the best defensive linemen, period, in this class, and somebody that I wouldn't be mad if the Lions picked up if he's there at 18. So Miles Murphy comes in at 4 for me on my top 5, defensive linemen.
All right, very cool. Miles Murphy, someone I didn't have in my top 5, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yep, so he missed out. I had Nolan Smith at 5, Tyree Wilson at 4, Kalijah Kancey for me at 3 for the obvious reasons that you explained. His frame, his low center frame, I should say, his gravity, the core strength he has, bendability, ability to get leverage on offensive linemen, even if they're much bigger, longer than him. It's really unbelievable. I know the Aaron Donald comp comes out. He's from Pitt, similar size. If I told you you don't know these players' names, I wiped your memory, and I put them on film side by side at Pitt, you would think it's the same player. But I don't think it's fair to comp him to Aaron Donald. He's one of the 3 greatest defensive linemen in NFL history. I think that's grossly irresponsible. If he's 50% of Aaron Donald, I think that's a very good pick in the first round for any football team. But regardless, I love Kalijah Kancey, uber productive. Again, there's something that doesn't need to be said about work ethic, hitting the gym, being available, being in shape, a guy you can rely on. Kalijah Kancey checks those boxes on top of the production. I have met 3 for me.
See, we both have Kancey in our top 5.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure he'd make it in yours. You had him at 5, which I'm cool with. Again, I'm not going to go back and forth on disagreeing about where you'd put him. Obviously, I rate him higher than most, but you're going to be shocked at who I have at 2.
Well, this is your list.
I'll give you that hint.
So I'll give you that. All right, it's your list. Oh, shocked at 2. I'm excited for this one. 3, Tyree Wilson. Had to get to him eventually.
Okay.
I mean, the guy's a behemoth, 6'6", 275. And I just kind of talked about length and measurables with Miles Murphy, comparing him to Trayvon Walker. Tyree Wilson, if you're drafting off potential or measurables, like Tyree Wilson to me, is as big as he is. I brought up 75 pressures in the last 2 seasons with Miles Murphy. How about 50 in the last season? 50 last season. I'm going to repeat that again. 50 pressures last season from Tyree Wilson. It's unbelievable what he was able to do. I know there's a lot of question marks, but I've seen him picked even higher than Will Anderson. So a lot to like with Tyree Wilson. I know the injuries are a big concern. That's why I'd probably stay away from him at 6. But regardless, you can't deny the potential. You can play him inside, outside. He's a top 3 defensive lineman.
He reminds me of Aiden Hutchinson in his last year at Michigan. I don't want to say burst onto the scene, but uber productive, not only in the sack count, but more importantly, pressures. Aiden Hutchinson was a pressure monster at Michigan this last year. So,
and what was Aiden's big up that they criticized Aiden for? He's got 1 move. Tyree Wilson has got 1 move.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it is
no,
what
he'll
it
definitely be a good player in the NFL. Number 2 on my list, Jalen Carter. Not only I have him higher than Kancey, I think anybody who doesn't have him in the top 2 is disregarding all of what the tape has shown us and what his talent can be. I'm not ignorant to that. 6'3", 300, 12, 13, 14 pounds. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Not big in terms of defensive tackle build, but he doesn't move like a defensive tackle. Moves like an end. His footwork is amazing. He's elite with his hand movement. Love that. My biggest concern, forget the character talk. We've done that enough. Football-wise, it's got to be how upright he plays. And he gets away with it because he's so damn strong and he's so quick. But his ability to get low and leverage, it's not ideal. Can that be taught? I'd hope so. That's what my coaches are for in the NFL. He's a bit unpredictable when he does attack when he does attack an offensive lineman. It's a bit unpredictable in terms of how he sheds a block or how he'll break through, which really causes him, if you watch the tape enough, to stumble over and lose his balance. So little things to look at, but overall, Jalen Carter's obviously a top 2 prospect defensively on the defensive line in this draft. It's not even close.
Yeah, we agree. I mean, Jalen Carter is 2 for me, and if you should have the same players 1 and 2. I don't think there should be that much disagreeing. I know some people would put Tyree Wilson ahead of Will Anderson or ahead of Jalen Carter. That's fine. I'm not going to do that. Jalen Carter, I agree. He's number 2 or 1. I wouldn't have an issue with that. And if you go, I guess comparisons to what PFF has him ranked, whether you believe in PFF or not, he's ranked in a similar way, I guess, overall grade than Quinnen Williams coming out. So, like Quinnen Williams a lot, Jalen Carter to me, and you nailed it, on the football field. If we're just going football, characteristics, the guy's a monster.
The talent wows you, and the talent allows you to look past whatever issues you have with him off the field.
Yes.
And the talent allows you to look past the dozen plays, less than maybe 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 plays a game where he takes it off. And that's not hyperbole. You can go watch, be my guest, roll on his tape. You'll see it. It is a legitimate concern. He takes more plays off than you'd like for a guy at that position. Now, can you rotate him in and out, keep him fresh? Of course, every team does that in the NFL, but that's one of the knocks. But moving on, I think we both...
He's, just so to go back to PFF, he's number 1 on the interior defensive line, and he's number 5 on the big board.
Jalen Carter? Makes sense. Makes sense.
On
they
the
had
big
him
board over
on
who?
the big board. They had him at 2 earlier in the year.
They have quarterbacks up there, I would assume.
C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Will Anderson.
They have Will Levis ahead of Jalen Carter? That is hilarious.
Yeah, there's
banana eaters, man. I guess I gotta eat a banana on this show, and everybody will think I'm the best. Who knows?
I mean, the fact that you have, whatever.
What?
It's fine.
You should know a thing or two about eating bananas. Anyways, the last person, number 1 on the list, I think we both agree, Will Anderson, the best edge prospect, I think, coming out. I think you would agree. Most people would agree.
Yep.
Some people disagree. Some people think it is Tyree Wilson. Some think it is Nolan Smith. Be my guest, have that opinion. But Will Anderson, there's nobody that's been more productive in 3 years at Alabama.
No,
than Will
I mean,
Anderson.
207 pressures in his time at Alabama. 207. Like,
well, don't forget about the 37 sacks.
Yeah, well, not even just, you bring up the sacks as well. Yeah, I mean, that's important. Sacks, what he did even last year, he had a down year. Still had double-digit sacks and a pick last year. So it is what it is. Will Anderson, to me, undoubtedly, if he went last year, if he came out last year, Adam, he'd be the number 1 pick. So Will Anderson, number 1 prospect. No doubt.
All right, I love it. JB, what'd you think? Who's got the better board? Just to review, by the way, Jeff's got Will Anderson 1, Jalen Carter 2, Tyree Wilson 3,
Miles Murphy 4,
and
then 5
Kalijah Kancey 5. I've got Will Anderson 1, Jalen Carter 2, Kancey 3, Tyree Wilson 4, Nolan Smith 5. What'd you think? Any misses? Anybody that should be in there, shouldn't be in there? Too high, too low?
No, I think you both got them right. Although, Jeff, I did not have Miles Murphy on the list I had in my head. But it's still fair.
You got a list?
It's still fair. My list, obviously, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Tyree Wilson, Kancey, and then Nolan Smith.
Okay, not much of a difference, right? Relatively the same 5-6 players. So I can live with that. Coming up next, the top 5 corners.
I can't wait for this.
This one's going to be fun. Because what the odds makers have and what I have, I don't know what Jeff's list is yet, so it's going to be fun. Maybe Jeff's is similar to mine, are completely different. So we'll go through the top 5 corners, in our opinion, coming out of this draft class, and so much more. But before we go, where's my paper? Here it is. Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse while still trying to help everybody else. And you can check out their podcast. This is the S Word. Helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you're someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information. Tell them your friends over at Sports Ascension.
I'd love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 Mr. Beer Machine, full bar. Check it all out, fullingwarehouse.com.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Thank you to everybody joining us on a beautiful Monday morning, 9:31. It's been a good show so far. We've talked about a lot of things. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. But, Jeff, top 5 players, one by one. We'll start at 5. All right, you know what? I think this one we should do at 1. Don't you think?
No.
I
think it's more surprising.
I like the build-up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to start this time because you started.
No, you started last time.
Oh, did I?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, yeah, this one, to me,
Oh, God. I'm nervous now. Is Forbes going to be 1? Let me hear it.
Okay.
Go
I'll
for it.
start at 5. 5 Forby. I'm going to go with Deontay Banks. He comes in at 5. I mean, you talk about what he did at the Combine. 4.35 in the 40, 42-inch vertical, 11'4" broad jump. Yeah. The athleticism, all the measurables, what he checks off. Deontay Banks, he's going to go in the first round. I know his production at Maryland didn't necessarily display that, but still, if you turn on the tape, Banks at Maryland, I mean, he was mirroring receiver. So I think there's a lot to like about Deontay Banks. I'm not high, super high on him. I have 4 corners ahead of him. But still, I think Banks can be somebody that maybe falls a little in the first round, and still you look back and say, man, how did he fall in the draft? So I like Deontay Banks. But, yeah, he's going to be the 5th corner to me right now. I have 4 better than him, yeah.
You're going to hate my list then. All right, number 5 for me, Emmanuel Forbes. Lanky. He's got good arms, speed. Too skinny for me. Not at 18.
Well, so now you don't like skinny people now. What happened?
Why? What's wrong with skinny? I prefer skinny people over fat people, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, all right, go on.
Especially in women. But anyways, that's not a different conversation for another day. I might offend half of society. I'm just saying. There's... you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm just going to shut the hell up before I get canceled again. All right, let's just not.
All right,
look, I like Emmanuel Forbes. I kind of want to leave him for you to break down because I know you love the player. I got him at 5 on my list. Would love to hear who you have at 4.
And I want to mention, too, some guys that were left off this list because I always like bringing honorable mentions. I'm going to say Clark Phillips III. That's another guy that I actually contemplated. I like him a lot. He'll be a 2nd or 3rd round pick out of Utah. Go watch his tape, by the way. I just want to bring him up. But 4, I'm going to go Emmanuel Forbes. As much as I love and I have a man crush on Emmanuel Forbes, I think he could be a late 1st round pick if a team falls in love with him, or an early 2nd round pick. I think he has a chance to be the best corner in this draft. I really do. Because the only concerns that people have right now is his size. They don't really have anything else. You want to say he's a zone corner, that's fine. I would disagree with that because he is a ball hawk, but still, you look at the speed, the length, the size. If he had some weight, there's some things that Emmanuel Forbes, I mean, he can take it even up a notch higher. So a lot to like about Emmanuel. Again, checks off a lot of those boxes, has production, tape looks good, played in the SEC. I mean, I like Emmanuel Forbes a lot. He's the 4th best corner to me. Now, where he goes, I think at the end of the day, I think he'll be an end of the 1st round pick, but we'll see. But
okay,
yeah,
you want to
Emmanuel
talk
Forbes.
about guys that missed your board? a guy that I really wanted to, but he's going to have to sit there at 6 is going to be Julian Brents.
Yeah, Julian Brents, another one.
I have him at 6, but number 4 to me, Cam Smith. And I really contemplated having Cam Smith higher, even at 3.
Yeah.
But Cam Smith out of South Carolina, I love watching this guy play. Exceptional corner. I think someone's going to walk away very happy in the late first round, early second round with probably a top 12, top 15 corner in year 1. I think he's going to be really, really good.
Yeah. And if you think about it, too, this cornerback, this DB class,
deep.
It's pretty deep.
Yep.
Yeah, just
I
looking
mean,
at
most secondary classes do come out. And you see last year, like a Tariq Woolen, everybody missed out on him for 4 or 5 rounds. So,
yeah,
you know,
that's how it works.
Seahawks said thank you to the entire NFL.
Yeah, stud. Number 3 for me, I'm going to go Joey Porter Jr. Now, again, the thing I struggle with, too, with Joey Porter is the 40 didn't look the greatest. I think he ran like a 4.5, but I'm not going to take that too much. I mean, the tape is the tape. You watch Joey Porter, you know what he did. Good size, 6'2", 198, physical at the line of scrimmage. And, again, you go back last year, this past fall, only allowed 143 yards in 10 games. So it's pretty good. So Joey Porter, to me,
agree.
I love the father of an NFL player. Typically
tends to work out in the NFL right now.
NFL, just throwing that out there. But yeah, Joey Porter to me, 3rd best corner.
Yeah, if your dad was an NFL player and you played the same position, it's working out. Just ask Patrick Surtain. Looks great.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah, Asante Samuel.
Asante Samuel Jr. There you go.
Keep bringing him up.
I love it. I agree with you. Joey Porter at 3 for all the reasons you named. I think one of the biggest concerns I have, he's super grabby.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have the same concern about the guy next on my list. They grab too much. And in the NFL, you're going to get killed for that. I've seen players come out year after year, especially out of the Big Ten, that are physical, but they grab a lot. And they get to the NFL, and they're top 5, top 10 in the NFL in terms of leading the NFL in pass interference calls. It's just not ideal.
I gotta give a quick shout out to Lucas over on socials because he put up a pretty sick graphic of Joey Porter Jr. last week, I think it was, on our graphics. I think with a mock of
jersey swap.
Jersey swap.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first that we've done this season leading up to the draft.
Hell yeah.
It got me excited.
Yeah, the draft I'm excited for it. Everybody is. Who wouldn't be? Whether you want someone or not, whether they take them or not, even if they don't take anybody I want, I don't care. I'm excited for the NFL draft. Who isn't? It is the biggest shit show in the world, and I love it. And I'm here for it. Number 2, Jeff.
Number 2. Now, this is the one I struggle with because I like both the top corners. Although I would keep repeating this, I wouldn't take them at 6. But both of these guys, to me, it's pick your flavor. I'm going to go with Devin Witherspoon. Christian Gonzalez here at 2. No, sorry.
Damn it.
Christian Gonzalez at 2. And this is where I struggle because if you're going off measurables, if you're going off the combine, because I know Witherspoon had a good pro day, Gonzalez absolutely nailed the combine. Like fluid. You watch Gonzalez and how he moves at his size. My gosh. Like there's a lot to like about Gonzalez. Even if you look at last year, breakout year at Oregon, had 4 picks, 6 pass breakups. The things he checks, size, speed, length, hips, ball skills, he's got it all. So really not too much not to like about Christian. I think the big thing is, well, he played in the Pac-12, but you could easily say for Witherspoon, played in the Big Ten. I'm going to go more with Gonzalez here at 2 because I have a bigger sample size with Witherspoon at 1. Gonzalez had a good year last year, but I got a couple more years with Witherspoon at Illinois. So I'm going to go with Gonzalez at 2. That's where I have him ranked.
You just put Lucas on an emotional roller coaster in the chat.
Maybe I did it on purpose, Lucas. I did it on purpose.
Look, I don't disagree, but let me ask you a question before I give you my 1 and 2.
Yeah, and just real quick, the reason why I ultimately went with Witherspoon is just because of the game tape. That's no measurables.
Let me ask you this,
because it's hard to
between Devon Witherspoon and Christian Gonzalez, the best of each player.
Yep.
Who do you think is better?
Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon, the best of each player? Yeah, that's tough because if they're both at their peak, I like a guy who's.
I would say most people
quicker.
would say Christian Gonzalez.
Yes, he checks again.
And that's important.
Yes.
Because if I had to pick between the 2 for the Lions, I would go with Witherspoon. But if you're asking me on a big board prospect-wise, and that's what this is, I got Witherspoon at 2. I think there's things that I'm really scared about on tape, especially the grabbing. But I could say the same about Christian Gonzalez at 1. Like these aren't polished Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, Sauce Gardner coming out. These guys have issues. And you already talked about Devon Witherspoon, so I'll just go straight to Christian Gonzalez. I'm not in love. He grabs not as much as Devon Witherspoon, but especially at the point of attack, when the ball's in the air and you got to go with the wide receiver, he loses that 7 out of 10 times. It's a disaster. He's lazy in zone coverage. His reaction time is not what you'd want from a corner, and he's missing that motherfucker in him. And that matters at that position. Because to be a corner in the NFL, especially a really good one, you have to be a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So Gonzalez is going to sit there at 2 for me. Prospect-wise, I'd like to give him 1.
Yeah.
But he's missing so many things that you just didn't doubt about Patrick Surtain. You didn't doubt about J.C. Horn. That's why I love Cam Smith so fucking much. I thought about putting Cam Smith upwards of 2 even on this list. But Devon Witherspoon's got to be 1. I just think it makes sense most for the Lions. As much as I want to make the argument for Gonzalez, there's way too much that I don't like. There's a little less that I don't like with Devon Witherspoon. That at the end of the day is going to be the difference for me.
And if you want to go off, I guess, combination in the pass game and in the run game, maybe you give that slight edge to Christian Gonzalez. But if we're talking strictly playing corner, the mentality you have to play with, I mean, Witherspoon, we'll just read this stats, this per PFF. They wrote this about Witherspoon. Witherspoon had one of the best seasons we've ever graded from a college cornerback. He was targeted 63 times in 2022. 63 times. And allowed only 22 catches for 206 yards and 3 picks, 14 pass breakups.
Yep.
That comes out to 3.3 yards per target. He's one of the fiercest corners from this class. And I would agree. I think for a lot of reasons you just listed, I would put Witherspoon at 1 for going off measurables and everything. Maybe I can see why you put Gonzalez 1, but for me, Witherspoon.
If you want to throw up
talk about translating to the NFL, I'm going.
If you want to throw up a poll real quick, are you okay with the Lions taking a corner at 6?
And if so, who?
Well, no. Just yes or no. And then, let's be honest. If this was last year, or excuse me, if the corner's coming out last year, or in 21 during the Penei Sewell draft, okay? If those corners were coming out, wouldn't you all be comfortable? I think everybody would love Sauce Gardner at 6. I think everybody would love Patrick Surtain. I think everybody would love J.C. Horn at 6. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. And that's my problem, is I don't think these guys are them day one. And that's what really concerns me the most about a corner at 6. Witherspoon, you can make the argument, is the most ready, most fit for this team, the Lions, sure. Who knows? We'll continue the conversation coming up next. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk into any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut and immediately enter for your chance to win not 1 but 2 cars of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, not 1 but 2, for your wife, your girlfriend, your mistress, your boyfriend. I don't know what you do. Whoever it's for your mom. Be a good person. Or your dad. I don't know. Go to a Lady Jane's near you. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show. Thanks for joining us. If you are watching at woodwardsports.com, be sure to check out all that we have going on the website, including articles and great merchandise leading up to this Lions season. We've had a lot of draft talk today. We've had a lot of rankings, and it's about that time for the countdown till Thursday when we will be at 5th Ave. I'm dropping in the chat right now our link to tickets to join us. Be sure to get your tickets soon. This party always sells out. It'll be standing room only, and we can't wait to see you there.
I can't wait. It's going to be a great draft party. We're going to have so much fun live at 5th Ave. Draft party starts 7:30, right?
Yep.
7:30 on our YouTube channel and on woodwardsports.com. Don't miss it. All right, Jeff. We've had conversations about player rankings, our top boards, what we think they shouldn't do. We saw Kyle Brandt basically come out and make a statement for a fact that Jalen Carter wasn't going to make it out of the top 5, let alone top 6. Let me ask you today, after all the Jameson stuff, which to an extent doesn't matter to me right now about this conversation, but Jalen Carter's on the board. Jeff Iafrate. It's Monday. And I'm going to get your final mock draft, Thursday we release the final mock drafts. Heading into the draft day. You tell me, Jalen Carter on the board, or does Seattle take him? What do you think?
I think Seattle takes him. I do. Now, it's different if he's there for the Lions, then I would say take him. But something tells me, and Peter Schrager even talked about this, he'll be gone by pick 6. That's his prediction, or that's what he's been hearing, and I think there's truth to that. I think Seattle looks at a player that widely regarded as the best player. This is an opportunity for them to get him without trading up. If he falls to him at 5, it's a position in need. If we look at Seattle's culture, if there's any culture in the top 10 that would be willing to take on a guy like Jalen Carter without any question marks, it's Seattle. So to me, he's gone at 5, but again, if he's there at 6, if I'm the Lions, I'm still considering him. But I think he's gone at 5, yes. Seattle it makes too much sense for me. Jalen Carter, that culture, they need a defensive tackle. He's as good as he is. It makes too much sense. If they don't take a quarterback.
Any chance Seattle takes a quarterback?
I think they have to consider it.
Because they can move off of Geno after 1 year.
They have to consider it. If you don't consider it, I mean, that's foolish. If Bryce goes first, let's say Will Levis goes 3rd.
Well, I think he's favorite to go 2nd right now.
To Houston?
Will Levis is favorite to go 2nd overall right now. He's the odds-on favorite. Yep. I think like minus 140 right now, minus 130. Could be wrong.
What the hell did
Are you okay?
say?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
You're not.
No.
It's not April.
Why would
it's
I lie to
April.
you? Why would
this
I
ain't
lie to
April
you?
Fools, are you?
Am I a liar?
Will Levis number 2 overall?
Yeah.
To Houston.
Yeah, it was memed all weekend. Every Houston fan was like, "Kill me, God." It has to be a pump fake. What's wrong? Are you okay?
I don't know.
Look, man, eating a banana in public with the peel
Speechless. Jeff is
turns on a lot of
speechless.
people.
Will Levis...
We will go from 1,400 viewers right now to 2,700 in an instant if you just eat a fucking banana on air.
Wow. I just lost my... Houston... Okay. All right, well, just go off that
Jeff is
then.
out.
Houston... Okay, Houston takes Will Levis. Great. It still puts them in a position... Let's say... that would mean what? C.J. Stroud to the Colts, I guess? Because the Colts got to take a quarterback, right? Like, even if Will Levis... I would assume Will Levis goes to the Colts. That's my prediction. Not to give it away, but I kind of just did. But if C.J. Stroud goes to the Colts, that would leave Anthony Richardson there, and I don't think Seattle takes Anthony Richardson then. Actually, that changes it. If Will Levis goes 2, Jalen Carter's going 5. But my only way would be if Will Anderson goes 2, Will Levis goes to the Colts, and maybe C.J. Stroud sitting there for the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, you got to consider that. But wow, what you just told me, I can't believe it. What is that? What website is that he's favored to go to?
That was from FanDuel Sportsbook, man.
FanDuel, are you?
Yeah,
Wow.
he's right.
The Sportsbooks came out. He's the favorite right now, and I think second on that list is Tyree Wilson.
Jeez.
Will Anderson's not even second on the list. Yeah.
So you're
a lot of people think Tyree Wilson's going to translate more in the NFL than Will Anderson.
That's
which
fine.
begs the question,
Yeah, that's fine.
how much would it cost to move up 3 spots? And I'm calling Arizona.
Yeah, I am too.
In that scenario, I call Arizona. Hey, I'll give you 48, and I'll give you a future 2. I'll give you 2 seconds and 6 to move up 3.
Because if I'm Seattle and you can't get that deal done, then I'll take Will Anderson. I'll just sit there and take Will Anderson, and that would leave you Jalen
Well, I
Carter.
think Arizona would take him in that scenario, unless they trade back. So
then Jalen Carter would be 5. So yeah, I mean that's. Man, I can't wait to this draft because you see quarterbacks going to the top 5, and there's only 1 quarterback going, 2 quarterbacks going. Like, who knows? For all as much as these quarterbacks have been gassed up, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, and Bryce, like you'd think all the first 5 picks would be quarterbacks. But
yeah, but you know what teams are thinking too? At least some teams, I would say, or I could argue, some teams aren't thinking. You know what? Let's play like the what if game. What if Hendon Hooker never got hurt?
I think he's a first-round pick.
Wouldn't he be the first overall pick to Carolina, you could argue, or second overall to Houston right now?
No.
Are you sure?
I don't think so.
He probably would have won the Heisman.
Yeah, but there's always...
And Heisman winners and going number 1 overall at quarterback has been a thing for the last 6-7 years.
I understand. The part of me would... Well, Lamar Jackson won Heisman, and he went in the first round.
Well, that doesn't count. That's a running back, but yeah.
A little exception to the rule there, Adam.
Running. I'm just being an ass.
I was gonna say,
I'm joking. Come on.
I feel like Hendon would have went mid-first. Like, I
really
do believe, yeah.
I really think he would have been a top 5 pick.
You do?
Yeah, I think he would have projected 100%.
Because the age.
They
think,
go undefeated. They stop Georgia. They win all of it. He wins the Heisman. Oh, my goodness. He would be the talk of town.
I think they would have brought up...
They would have compared him to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but they would have said he's 25 years old.
Sure, but, what does that mean at the end of the day? All I'm saying is I'm sure there are teams picking between 8 and 15, 17, 18 that are thinking, this guy would have been a top 5 pick, and everybody's talking about Levis and Richardson, and we don't even like them, and we can get him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody trades up from the 20s to land Hendon Hooker. How about that?
I wouldn't be shocked either.
Or if they stay put and take him.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot to like about Hendon Hooker.
The point I'm making is, if he stayed healthy, it's a big if, but scenario-wise, I really think he would have been a top 5 pick.
So if the Lions took him at 18, you would be...
No, I'm not on board with the Lions taking a quarterback.
I was just
not
seeing you. I was just testing.
No, but I'm making the point because don't discount the idea that teams don't think that way and say, hey, this guy would have been on the board here had he not gotten hurt. Same thing with James Mitchell, the Lions tight end. They wouldn't have gotten him where he did if he didn't tear his ACL. It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
He would have been a late 2nd, early 3rd round pick towards ACL. Benefited the Lions if he plays well. So it's just something to think about. When we get back, mailbag, ask myself, Gabby, Jeff, and JB any question you'd like. We'll be right back to answer them all. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Let me tell you about... no, actually, Gabby needs to tell you about Cintron.
I'm going to tell you about them because I spent my weekend drinking Cintron. Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, and right now you can get an exclusive offer as you are a Woodward Sports listener. Our fans can get the limited edition Red Wings 6-pack for $15 plus free shipping if you go to drinkcintron.com/Woodward. That is drinkcintron.com/Woodward.
You've heard of Gordon Ramsay. You've heard of Bobby Flay. But Thursday night Master Chef Brad Holmes will be in the kitchen with all of the ingredients needed to make a great dish on draft night. Join Woodward Sports for our 3rd annual Woodward Sports Draft Party live at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. The past 2 years, these parties have been standing room only, so get your tickets early at eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on all the fun with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and the entire Woodward Sports crew. The party starts at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest draft party in the Motor City, brought to you by the biggest network, Woodward Sports.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan.
Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals in town. Plus, they will be all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Ulta, because Ulta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Ulta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ULTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ULTA today.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com. As always, if you missed the show live, you can always go back after the fact. Download the podcast. Leave a 5-star review for Jeff, please, because his hair's almost back. 99%, you'd say? 90.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, about 90.
Hell yeah.
I'm getting there.
All right, we got a question for you guys before you ask us questions, which is, are you going to the draft party on Thursday? Get your tickets at eventbrite.com. Search Woodward Sports, Woodward Sports Draft, or whatever the hell you want to search.
Chat.
Links in the chat, guys. Answer the poll. Make it out Thursday. It's going to be a blast. You don't want to miss it. We'll start taking questions. Jeff, Adam, who's the GOAT? Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Go ahead, millennial. Go ahead. Give the wrong answer.
JB, you tell him. Who's my GOAT?
Oh, well, I know I'm going with MJ.
That's what I'm going with.
Who's my GOAT?
It's gotta
The
be
real
MJ.
GOAT.
It's got to be MJ, right?
It's LeBron James.
Oh.
The kid from Akron. The
You mean
son
Steph
to
Curry?
Gloria James.
You mean Steph Curry?
The husband to Savannah James. Yes, LeBron James is my GOAT. It's okay, though. You can go with MJ. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Some kids are just born with a defect, and Jeff, unfortunately, was born with a major defect. And, you know, we're all inclusive here. We hire and employ everybody. We're not discriminatory towards anybody. And, you know, Jeff, even with his defects, is allowed to work here. So it says a lot about us.
No,
all right?
listen, you can disagree, but the facts are the facts. It's all good.
Oh, God. Should we rebuild for 20? Shut up. I'm not doing this. You're not drafting a wide receiver in the first round because Jameson Williams is missing 6 games. Stop it. All right. Isn't Adham a millennial? I don't know. Am I? What am I? I was born in 94. What is that?
I'm terrible with this. I have absolutely no clue.
Are you Gen Z? Is that the new one? What's the fucked up one? Is it millennials or Gen Z?
I think it's a Gen Z.
I was born in 94, so feel free to answer in the chat. I have no idea what I am.
Yeah, I'm going to have some backup in the chat here because I have absolutely no clue.
All right. Let's see. We'll Adham.
94 is millennial.
Well, by the way, at Huron Mark, he says, add Jeff, Hooker only threw 5 picks in 2 years. Listen, Huron, no one's arguing.
Who, Hooker?
Yeah. And before he got injured, he was a first-round pick. Now that he's injured, he's probably a late first-round pick, maybe even a second-round pick. It doesn't really change much. You're acting like we're over here crapping on Hendon Hooker. No one's saying that. He's still a good quarterback. He's still one of the better quarterbacks in this draft. But there's other things just besides the knee injury that teams are questioning, like his age, for example. That hurts him, whether you want to admit it or not. That's all we're saying. So
Would
relax.
you rather trade up or trade down, Jeff?
Trade up to get Will Anderson.
Okay. I would agree with that.
That's what I would do.
I would agree with that. If the Las Vegas Raiders call and offer their 7th pick and Hunter Renfrow, who I think they released, by the way, but okay, for the 6th pick, if you're the Lions, would you take it? No. I want control of the board.
Yeah.
I want control of the board. That's so important to me. So either trade up or stay put at 6 unless you get an offer that you can't refuse. And that, to me, is an offer I can refuse. Do you guys have any NFL draft prop bets for Thursday? Yeah, we'll give them out Thursday on the show. It's too early. You got to wait for all the lines to finalize going into the day. I remember last year placing a stupid $1,000 bet on Kayvon Thibodeau because we had inside information. It totally bit us in the ass on Thibodeau going 2, and then fucking Trayvon Walker goes 1. And it was too late.
Sounds about
Hutchinson
right.
was like already minus 1,100 to go second overall. And obviously it worked out for the Lions. Didn't work out for me on draft night. But that same night, I won my money back on the Sauce Gardner pick. So, you know, there's that at least.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
That's why you never trust any inside sources on draft day. Because typically they're not inside sources.
Yeah, but, you know.
It's just no one knows
that was a very
anything.
good source. I just think the Trayvon Walker thing messed it all up.
Yeah, probably. And that's
God
why I love the
damn it.
draft. You never know.
Adams, I do, Fletch. I do. Should the Lions trade back with the Titans or Washington? No. What are they giving me? And even if they give me 2 future firsts, I am giving up all control of the draft board. Like, I have no control of who goes from 1 to 10 until I pick at 11 or with Washington.
And if there's a scenario where Brad likes a group of players, maybe.
And then why would I want to trade back up after trading back with the assets I just got? It doesn't make sense to me, so we'll see.
Mailbag, do you guys think MCDC is lock for Coach of the Year if the Lions win the division?
Yes. Depends on the win record.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It depends on the
just because
to
they
be
win
fair.
the division.
If they win 9-8 and they win the division, I don't think so.
I think you got to win.
I think 11-6 gets him Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I would agree. I think at minimum 11 games.
11-6 Coach of the Year, 100%.
Okay.
I think he's got the story, the narrative. He's got it all working with him. Lions haven't won the division in over 30 years. Same with the playoff win. Dan Campbell, 100%. 100%. I think the only guy that can top him would be if Denver win the division. If Denver win the division with Sean Payton, I don't care if the Lions win 12 games. Dan Campbell can't get that award. It'll be Sean Payton. Because he'll have dethroned the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Brandon Staley. That's a hell of a division. The Raiders with Devontae Adams. Watch out. Watch out for Denver. Denver would be, I think, the only team that could win a division that would dethrone Campbell winning a division title.
Beydoun says, Mailbag, is Jeff going to show up to work on Friday morning?
Probably not.
I plan to show up to work on Friday. I don't typically miss too many days.
Yeah.
Especially after that day.
Then you wake up with scabs in your mouth. What are you going to do?
Maybe you need to set a couple more alarms this time so we don't have an issue like last week where you just decided to sleep in through half of the show.
Well, he read the prep, and he was like, I don't need to talk the first 30 minutes of the show. Adam's got it. And then he came in right for Pistons talk.
Well, the other
very convenient timing.
2 years of never missing makes up for the one day.
I guess.
We'll just say that. All right. I got enough sample size.
That's it for today. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and while you wait for Big D Energy to go live, go to woodwardsports.com. Check out the latest articles, breaking news. We're out of here. Thank you guys so much. Till tomorrow.
Monday.
See you later.